What's up everyone, my name is Abby, I like to read, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I plan to read in the month of March. So I currently have 8 books on my list to read for March. It is March 3rd, and I have currently already finished 2 of those books and am in the middle of another 4 of them. So I may be a little bit ahead, so I'll probably be adding books to this list once I finish. But yeah, let's get into which books I plan to read. So starting with the book that I ended up not finishing from my February TBR, and that is Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. This is the 3rd book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I started it. I am on page 39, and you know, I just didn't really, I wasn't in the mood to read it. So I read other things. I admit I added books onto my TBR and read those instead of reading this. I am sorry, it happened. This was my February TBR jar book. And so I am moving it to March, and yeah, I'm hoping I finish it. It's not that it was bad, I just was in the mood for something else, so I read something else. Ugh. The next 2 books on my list are the ones that I actually finished. The first one is Storm of Secrets and Sorrow by Melissa K. Roerich. This is the 2nd book in the Legacy series. I read the first book in February. That was one of the books that I added to my list instead of reading Dreams of God and Monsters. Oopsies. I already read it. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts because you'll have to wait until my March wrap up to hear my thoughts on those. The 2nd book that I already read in March was The Song of the Marked by S.M. I think it's Gaither. And this is the 1st book in the Shadows and Crowns series. I had seen this book. I think the author had an ad on Instagram, and these Instagram ads for books are really getting me lately, because it's like, that's a cool description. Let me just click on it and add it to my Goodreads. And so I ended up listening to this one on Audible, and that brings me to my next book, which is the book that I'm currently listening to, and that is A Twist of the Blade, and that is the 2nd book in the Shadows and Crowns series by S.M. Gaither. The next book that I'm also currently reading is Visions of Flesh and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I am currently on page 59. This, I will say, I am not hopeful that I'm going to finish this book in March, just because this is I think it's called a compendium, which is, it is a blood and ash / flesh and fire compendium, as told by Miss Willis. If you've read Blood and Ash, that is a character in that book, so you would recognize that. But this is a factual kind of textbook type book that has terms and kind of what they mean, and what's really cool is it has art in the book, and it also has character profiles. So each character in both of the series, it has their picture, and then it has a description, and then it has a summary of what they have gone through so far in the books. So because it's not adding new stories, I'm not just flying through it. I'm kind of reading chapter here, chapter there, and I'm hoping this will tide me over until the next Flesh and Fire book comes out, I think in May. So this may take me a couple months to read, but I figured I would add it to my TBR just in case I do finish it in March. Oh, and I forgot to say, this is written by Jennifer L. Armentrout and Raven Salvador. So it was co-written. The next book that I am also currently reading is What Lies Behind the Veil by Harper L. Woods. This is the 1st book in the Of Flesh and Bone series. I think this is another one that I saw a description of somewhere, and I added it to my Goodreads please buy list, and it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I ended up just picking it up and I'm reading it. I think I'm only on page 9, so I am not very far. I don't really know what's happening. But yeah. The 7th book on my list doesn't actually come out until March 25th, so obviously I cannot read it until then. But that book is called Silver Wings Golden Games, and it is by Evie, either Marceau or Marco, one of those. And it is the 2nd book in the God Kissed Bride series. This is another one of those books that I saw a description of. The 1st book, I mean, and I read it in February and I really liked it. So I wanted to read this book as soon as it came out at the end of March. All right, and my last book is going to be from my TBR jar. All right, so the book that I'm going to read is Torn. All right, so that is Torn by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 2nd book in the Wicked trilogy. This should be a pretty easy read. Although, so it's a reread. I have read the whole trilogy, and I will say that rereading Wicked, the 1st book, was a little bit difficult. I think this is a pretty older Jennifer Armentrout book, and it's not one of my favorite series of hers, but I am trying to reread all of her books so that I can tab them. So yeah, that is the 8th and final book that I plan to read in the month of March. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below what books you plan to read in the month of March, subscribe if you want to see more content, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. 8th and final book that I plan to read in the month of March. What the hell? The books that I plan to read in the month of March.